Hi there, it's December 27th, and we're continuing our voyage through the revelation of John, the revelation of Jesus Christ, and we're in chapter 18, reading a whole chapter from verses 1 to 24. This is the judgment of the great metropolis of Babylon, which we've said before represents Rome. It's already been connected with the 7 hills, built on 7 hills, just like Rome was built on 7 hills. And here John sees the downfall of this mighty city, this mighty center of empire. And as it falls, there's the smoke and the fire of it go up, and there's great mourning throughout the earth, because this has been the place, this has been the central knot of the hub of empire of man, the republic of man, which has set itself against God. And it begins with a great angel coming down from heaven. His light floods the earth, and he brings to an end the empire of man, the empire of Rome. Now, of course, John is thinking here about the physical Rome and about all the power, but he's also thinking there's also in this a word to the whole of empire, going right back to Babel in Genesis, and through Babylon, who enslaved Israel, and now through Rome, who had enslaved Israel again. And so there's a looking to the fall. But this is not just the fall of a physical empire. This is the fall of the systems of man that set themselves up against God. And it's very all-encompassing. And so particularly the commerce and the business is emphasized here in this chapter. The loss of all of the rich things, all of the spices and the jewels and the building materials, and even, as is mentioned right in the middle of it, the souls of men, because of course slavery was something that was happening in Rome, but men can always be enslaved. Even when slavery is illegal, there is still slavery going on. Even in our days there is slavery going on. And John says he sees this coming to an end with the judgment of the great Babylon. And an angel takes a stone and he throws it into the sea, and there's a great splash. And he says, this is what's going to happen to this republic of man, to this empire of Babylon that will be finished, to this Roman imperial power that needs to be judged and needs to be decided on, because it has been guilty of the blood of the prophets, it's been guilty of the blood of the martyrs, and there has been a fighting against God all the way through. We know that God's kingdom is coming. We know that heaven is going to come to earth, and earth is going to be transformed. But there's also going to be an expunging of the systems of man which reckon themselves without God. So at one point in this chapter, the angel calls out, come out from among them. Don't be conformed to this world. Don't let the system of this world squeeze you into its mold, as someone says elsewhere in Romans 12 in J.B. Phillips' translation. Don't be squeezed into the ways of this world, with all of its idolatry, all of its bowing down to what is not God, all of its valuing what is not divine. Because God is going to finish that off. There's going to be a sudden destruction, there's going to be a sudden fall, with the purpose of bringing in heaven. It's not with the purpose of God just pouring out his wrath and getting angry and smashing things up. It's because God has a plan to change this, to exchange it for hope, for heaven, for a place where there is no more pain, sorrow and suffering, certainly where there's no more slavery, a place where there is God and him alone is sufficient. Let's be praying for that again today. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And let's pray for the ending of all of that which reckons itself without the power of God. Have a very good December 27th.